Hey guys, it is Reggie, and today we are taking a look at the full mechanics Gundam Aerial from the most recent AU Gundam anime, The Rich from Mercury. Now, this has been a bit of a long time coming. If you remember, back in May of last year, I reviewed the high grade Gundam Aerial, and while I said at the time that the kit wasn't exactly revolutionary, more so evolutionary, in the fact that high grade kits are continuing the evolution that we were seeing from Iron Blooded Orphans, from almost fully developed inner frames and a lot of detail. Now, with the Wish from Mercury kits, they are swinging out of the bat with a high grade, separate colored eyes, a lot of detail, not as much sticker use outside of the permit score stickers, which were a little bit of a scene of a contention for some people, but understandingly so. However, now we move to 1/100. I remember this got announced almost the same time as the high grade, and a lot of people were having some mixed reactions. Some people were like, why can't we just get a master grade? If they're going to do a full mechanics, why even make a master grade? What can they do to improve it even further? And it's like, guys, did you forget Barbatos? Did you forget the jump from the full mechanics or the no grade at the time to the master grade in just a span of 4 years? How much detail they put into the master grade Barbatos? That thing was practically a mini perfect grade, if we're being honest. At least from 2000 standards, that would have been a perfect grade, just scaled down. But now we have the full mechanics, and can it do better than the high grade? Can it be a much bigger jump from high grade to full grade, or full mechanics, I should say? Hey, I rhymed. So here we are. We're going to unbox this, see what we have here. Here is Gundam Aerial. All built up, and we have the Gundam Aerial in full mechanics glory. And I have to say, just from the build quality alone, yes, this is a much better step up from the high grade. High grade was fantastic. It was an awesome kit, but it has a lot more detail going for it. No, it does not have a full interframe. If you're looking for that, this is not what you're here for. If you wanted what you liked from the high grade, with more detail, scaled up, and a lot more color separation, will be very happy. This model kit comes with no stickers. The eyes are its own separate pieces. The permit score pieces that were once stickers on top of translucent gray plastic are now chrome red pieces placed under plastic, which gives it a much more metallic shine, and it really shows the underneath mechanics of the Aerial. A lot of the build was straightforward, even though I did cause one stress mark in putting together the ankle, but that wasn't a build quality. That was a me fail in that I had the ankle a little bit backwards and I tried to force it. I had to go back into the manual and go check it out to see that I didn't make an error, and I found out that I did. And overall, the build, I was so happy with the build. It looks great. It looks more than presentational, especially after you decal it, or I don't do decals, but I did some panel lining. This is so far outside of, unless they did a Metal Robot Spirits, this is the best interpretation of the Aerial in 1/100S scale that you will find out in the market. Now, while it looks good, let's take a look at some of that articulation. As we always do, we start with the head. The head has a double joint and can go 360, but you do need to be very careful with the chin piece. It can get stuck with the collar around it in the next section. The arms have an interesting double joint and a hinge, so it goes out and then it goes inside of itself, and you can get a wide range of arm movements in there. The arms has double swivel. You're going to get a bicep swivel, and then you're going to get a swivel on the forearm, so you can get a lot of crazy posing with it. You're going to get a double jointed elbow. The wrist, nothing too special. It's just peg with a polycap. It can go 360. Hands are swappable. You're going to get open hand, trigger, beam saber holding, and fist. Waist has double jointed, so you can make the top joint move and the bottom itself. The torso, however, is not double jointed, but it can go about 180 and also twist up and down. Legs, you're going to get a very beautiful split. I haven't seen a split this nice since the real grade Burning Gundam. It can go wide out, and you're going to get variable hips, so the hips can go up and down. you're going to get a very immaculate double jointed or almost triple jointed knee. I can't quite quantify that, but just the way the armor shifts makes it look like it's triple jointed. I could be wrong. And the ankles, you're gonna get like almost the barber toes where the ankles can kind of go a little crazy, but they do kind of tame it down a bit for stability issues. So they calmed it down and learned the lesson from Barbatos and Exia. The articulation for the aerial was great. I had so much fun just posing this thing alone and taking pictures to see what aerial looked like. The aerial, especially, and once you get an action base, which we'll get to there, but there's a little problem. You can get a lot of ground poses, and it was just fun to put together and see it go into action. Now we're gonna get to the accessories, and I'm gonna have a little bit of a surprise. This is a little bit of where the ball drops here. So you're gonna get the beam rifle. The beam rifle, unfortunately, again, is just two pieces slapped together, which would have been fine and perfectly serviceable in high grade. In the full mechanics, I was expecting maybe 6 pieces put together. You don't even get the color separation for the scope, but again, it's gonna serve its purpose. It has one trigger finger hand for the right hand, so you can get your beam shots, and you're also going to get the beam effect part for when you want to use it as a bayonet / a beam saber. On top of that, you also get a connection bit on the backpack to where you connect it to the beam rifle so you can have storage. Overall, serviceable, slightly disappointed. I wish it had more color separation. I wish there were just a little bit more detail, but hey, maybe they're saving for the master grade. I could be wrong. The excretion. I'm not gonna lie, I got a mixed feeling about it. So, one bonus it has over the high grade is that it is fully color separated. You don't need a single sticker for this. This is how it is completely molded. All you gotta do is panel line it if you have to or if you want to. It's going to connect on the side part of the forearm, and you can always use that forearm swivel to connect it so you can make it a little less awkward. However, I find the connection to be a little bit lackluster, and trying to pose it can get a little bit in the way a little bit with the aerial and what poses you want to do. It does function mechanically, just like the high grade did. It also has the other bonus part of using it as bits for the pourment. It also has the element of taking apart the pieces that you can place on the aerial for the permanent form when it wants to start using it as bits. And I gotta say that I think the high grade did it a little better. Now, obviously, you're gonna get more color separation, but I find, especially the part that goes behind the waist, it doesn't fit in as well. And I did notice that afterwards, pulling the shield back together, the part was a little bit weaker after the fact. It does do the clamping and it separates itself. Unfortunately, if you want the full bit attack, you are going to have to get a separate action set in order to pull that off. It does not come with any of the assorted attachments that you would have seen on the manual. And the manual does tell you you will have to buy other action-based sets in order to complete it. And of course, just like almost every mobile suit in the Gundam universe, with some very exceptions that I can't even think of on top of my head right now, it's going to come with beam sabers. These are the double O style with a nice pure like a royal blue translucent clear plastic that they use for it. Beam saber, the hilts go on the back of the backpack, and it does have a hinge system so you can make it look like Ariel is pulling out the beam sabers. And it works as it should. I mean, beam sabers almost never fail unless they're huge or just over cumbersome, but it looks great with it. Overall, my final thoughts on the full mechanics Gundam Ariel. Man, I'm gonna shock some of you guys. So, the Gundam itself is a massive improvement over its high grade counterpart. More detail. No, you're not going to get a full inner frame, but it has more inner frame pieces that hold it together. More detail. No stickers. Just as, if not slightly better articulation that you got with the high grade. In terms of what it could do on the ground, and I keep emphasizing this, it can do almost anything you want it to do. Nothing on the Gundam itself got loose over time. I had a blast building it. It was fun to put together. I have no complaints. This is definitely a huge step up from the high grade, and I can't imagine if one day we get a master grade of this, what it can do. The Gundam is a step up. The accessories, not so much. Again, the beam rifle, 2 pieces slapped together, which was a little disappointing. I wanted a little bit more color separation, and I wanted a little bit more functionality. That's missing here. My biggest contention with the full mechanics is the action base. The adapter did not work for me. I used it. I had a spare action base that I had from the Master Grade Gundam Fenice Renacita that I used it for, and it kept falling. I had to finagle it. The connection was loose. Aerial kept falling. I made sure to check the instructions to make sure I wasn't doing anything out of the ordinary. I was making sure that everything was in line with what it was supposed to do. And it kept falling, and it really hurt a lot of my shots when trying to do action-based poses. It felt really frustrating, and it felt really lackluster. The Excretion shield, again, I find, while it is fully color separated, I really couldn't pull off a lot of what I wanted to do with it. It also had the aforementioned issue of the fact that some parts got loose. I was actually, the multiple times I was trying to put it attached to the forearms, one of them was starting to get a little stressed out, and it wasn't even staying on the attachment piece. So the Gundam itself is a step up, but the accessories were lacking here, and that's why I can only give it a style ranking of A. Yes, this is much better than its high-grade counterpart, but if the accessories don't match that escalation of quality, then there's only so much I can give it for. The aerial itself was amazing, but the accessories were lacking. This is where I feel like the rebuild aerial or the Calibarn would have come into play, where I would hope as the line continued, it would get more greater detail, but we have not seen any other 1/100 from the Witcher Mercury line, which is surprising because I remember back in the day when IBO was coming out, granted, for season 1, we got 7 kits. We got both versions of Barbatos, the Rebake, we got the Grimgird, and we got 2 versions of the Kamaris and the Greys. And then with season 2, we only got the 4, Lupus, Lupus Rex, Bile, and Vidar. But still, you got multiple kits as the show went on. We only got the 1, which I guess Bandai really wanted to emphasize that they were trying to push a lot of attention into Witcher Mercury, and they really wanted to capitalize on the popularity and also try to get the Witcher Mercury a foothold with the current anime audience. But I was surprised there hasn't been another 1/100. And with Ariel being the one, again, the suit itself is great, but the accessories could have been stepped up a little bit. But hopefully in a Master Grade, this could be obviously improved on. Maybe even a Master Grade Extreme. We don't know what the future could hold for Witcher Mercury. There's some contention with the anime, and I enjoyed for what I saw, and I thought it was pretty progressive, but also had some of the Gundam tropes but in a different spin. That's just my opinion. You're more than free to have your own. Overall, this kit, I'm happy to have it, but again, the accessories just left a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth. But again, there's always more kits, and this one, if you just want it for a more detailed aerial, you're going to get what you're looking for. So that is it for my review. This is 101 R. Smith, and I will see you later. Peace.